பொதிகை நேயர்களுக்கு வணக்கம். விளையாட்டு களம் நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு உங்களை அன்போடு வரவேற்கிறோம். விளையாட்டு களம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் ஒவ்வொரு வாரமும் ஒவ்வொரு விளையாட்டு வீரர் வீராங்கனையும் நம்ம சந்திக்கிறோம். இன்றைக்கி நம்ம யாரை சந்திக்க போகிறோம்னா ஒரு ஸ்குவாஷ் பிளேயர். இவர் இப்போ சமீபத்தில் ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் நடந்ததில் அதில் வந்து பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணி இண்டிவிஜுவல் கேட்டகரியில் சில்வரும் டீம்ஸ் ஈவெண்ட்டில் வந்து கோல்டும் வின் பண்ணியிருக்கார். ரொம்ப வருஷமாக ஸ்குவாஷ் விளையாடிட்டுருக்கார். இந்தியாவுக்கு ரெப்ரசன்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கார். சௌரவ் கோஷல் அவர்களை தான் இன்றைக்கி நம்ம சந்திக்க போகிறோம். வாங்க சந்திக்கலாம். Hi sir, welcome to our show. First of all, congratulations for you personally taking the silver medal individual and also gold in the team event. So how do you see your performance and tell us about that experience?
Yeah, I think it's been a great experience for everyone who was part of the Indian sporting contingent to Hangzhou for the Asian Games in 23. For us personally, it's the best we have achieved as a squash team, winning 5 medals overall, which is a great achievement for everyone involved with the sport and obviously specifically involved with the team. For me personally, I had planned really hard and worked really hard to make it possible for me to win 2 golds in both the teams and the individuals. The team gold happened first, which was an absolutely brilliant experience to be able to replicate what we did in 2014 in Incheon. To do it again in 23 this year was brilliant with a different team slightly, but we did really well to come through and win that gold. For the individuals, I think I played really well through the whole week. I just kind of fell short on the finals day. I think Yao from Malaysia, who was the top seed, played extremely well that day. I'd beaten him in the team event, but unfortunately for me, things didn't quite run my way after winning the first game. But such a sport, you win some, you lose some. But I think all of us can hold our heads high and know that we gave everything we had through the 10 days that we were there in Hangzhou, and we came back with a lot of happy memories.
So out of these 2 medals, your individual medal, that is silver, and team medal, gold, which one is your favorite?
Look, obviously we won the gold in the teams, so that has to be, top of the list. Winning a gold medal with the team is something that kind of signifies and exemplifies that Indian squash as a whole is doing very well. We have players, not just one player, but like a few players who are playing really well, and to be able to win a team event at the Asian Games is no mean feat. So, that was obviously very special. The individual silver, I've won it once before as well in 2014, and I don't have the individual gold yet in my collection, and that is something that, will stay with me. I don't know if I'll get another opportunity, but of course, I am privileged and grateful to have the opportunity to have won these medals, but hopefully one day I will have the gold as well from the individual event.
ஸோ நீங்கள் வந்து ரொம்ப வருஷமாக ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் விளையாடிட்டுருக்கீங்க. 2014 ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ்லையும் மெடல் வின் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. இப்போது ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் 2023லையும் வந்து மெடல் வின் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. உங்களுடைய ஃபேவரட் எது?
I would say in terms of quality produced and in terms of what we've done as a team, both men's and women's put together, I think this has to be the best one because we won 5 medals in total, which we've never done before. I think 2006 will always be very special as well because that was the first medal that I won for myself and as well for India at the Asian Games in squash. So it is historic. 2014 team gold is historic as well because we had never won a team event before that. And you always say that the first one is always very special. So I think because of those 2 reasons, I think those 2 events are also very special. But overall, looking at the balance of things, considering what we've achieved this year at the Asian Games, you'll have to put Hangzhou 23 as the one which is the big one.
ஸோ ஸ்குவாஷ் கேமில் நீங்கள் ரொம்ப வருஷமாக இருக்கீங்க. ஆரம்பத்தில் ஒரு மாதிரி நீங்கள் வந்து ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க, ரொம்ப நேரம் ஒரு ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க. இப்போது ஒரு விதமான பேட்டர்னில் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டுருப்பீங்க. ஒரு நாளைக்கு நீங்கள் எவ்வளோ நேரம் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறீங்க?
It's not a few months. It's a lot of years. Whatever we are producing right now is not a product of what we've done in the last year. It's a product of all the years that we've played, and obviously I've been playing for more than 30 years now. It's small incremental improvements every single day which get you to this point. Of course, over the last year, there's a kind of focused endeavor to do really well at the Asian Games, and that has always been the case. For me personally, I think there are certain things that I've kind of like look towards improving and adding to my training regimen. Obviously, I know that I am older than the rest, and I need to be able to take care of my body really well. So a lot of the work that we've done off the court has been trying to take the impact off the joints, because we have so much impact whilst playing, so that I stay injury free as much as possible. The other thing that we focused really hard on was the fact that we had the team event first and then the individual event, and I knew that if we had to win golds in both, I would probably be playing 10 days in a row, hard matches, to be able to kind of prepare my body and my mind in a lot of ways to withstand the pressure of doing that over the course of 10 days and not tailing off towards the end. So I think those were the two main things that we focused on.
இப்போ நடந்து முடிஞ்ச ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸில் உங்களோட இண்டிவிஜுவல் கேட்டகரியில் பார்க்கும்போது குவைத்து, ஜப்பான், அதுக்கப்புறம் ஹாங்காங் பிளேயரோட நீங்கள் மோதி 3-0 வின் பண்ணீங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஃபைனல் மலேசியாவில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நீங்கள் வந்து தோற்றுருக்கீங்க. உங்களுடைய இந்த இண்டிவிஜுவல் பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸஸை பற்றி சொல்லுங்களேன், ஒவ்வொரு மேட்சை பற்றி.
Yeah, I think the first match, obviously, trying to focus really hard after, coming down from the high of winning the team gold. It's a big high, both physically and emotionally, and it's always difficult to kind of get yourself back up to play at the highest level very soon after that. So I think mentally just focusing on making sure that I was ready and focused for the first match against the Kuwaiti player Ammar Al Tamimi, who is a dangerous player in his own right, and I was just trying to be very, very clinical and doing the right things and getting off court as quickly as I possibly could. And thankfully I managed to do that. In the quarters against the Japanese player Ryosuke, he's a very dangerous player. He's actually one of the hardest ones to get in that quarter final slot, and he had some very, very good wins over the past year. So I knew that that I had to be really up for that and make sure that I didn't kind of let him get into the match really and use my experience and my squash as best I could. And for the most part, I managed to do that, except there was a period towards the end of the second game when I was leading, but I had a bit of a weak phase and he did really well and got back, but I managed to win that on a tie break and then close the match out. In the semis against Henry Leung, he had a very good win against his compatriot in the quarters to make the semis. I kind of knew what I needed to do. It was all a question of execution, and thankfully I executed really well.
ஸோ இண்டிவிஜுவல் கேட்டகரியில் நீங்கள் ஃபைனல் வந்து மலேசியன் பிளேயர் யோனோட விளையாண்டிங்கல்ல, அப்போ வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட்டு செட்டு நீங்கள் தான் வின் பண்ணீங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் அடுத்த 3 செட்டு வந்து நீங்கள் வின் பண்ணலை. ஸோ அந்த மேட்ச் எப்படி போச்சு, எங்கே தப்பு நடந்தது, அந்த எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள்.
Yeah, look, I think I was down in the first. I did very, very well to come back and win that, and I was looking very good actually through the middle of the second. Things just started to kind of like unravel a little bit from that point on. I got a few calls from the referee which didn't go my way. These things happen in sport. I couldn't deal with that. Yao started playing really well, used that momentum very well. And you just have certain days when things don't go well for you, and for the opponent everything seems to be going in, and Yao kind of had one of those days. He's a quality player, 18, 19 in the world, and he's done very, very well, had some big wins against top 10 guys, so there's no embarrassment losing to a player like that, but of course, looking back, there might have been certain things that I could have done slightly differently, but ifs and buts, you could be world champion any day, right? But I do know that I gave everything I had that day, but unfortunately for me it didn't quite turn out the way I would like it to, but like I said, I'm very grateful for whatever transpired over those 2 weeks, and I'm very happy that we won what we won.
இப்போது இண்டிவிஜுவல் போலவே வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா டீம் ஈவெண்ட்ஸ்லேயே நீங்கள் விளையாடிருக்கீங்க. இப்போ டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டுன்னு வரும்போது நிறைய கண்ட்ரிஸ் பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணாங்க, குவைத்து, சிங்கப்பூர், பாகிஸ்தான். ஸோ அதில் வந்து குவைத்து, சிங்கப்பூர், கத்தார், இந்த மாதிரி கண்ட்ரிலாம் நீங்கள் வந்து கன்வின்சிங்காக டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டில் ஜெயிச்சிங்க. பாகிஸ்தானோட ஒரு மேட்ச் தோத்துட்டு ஃபைனலில் வந்து 2-1 வந்து ஜெயிச்சிருக்கீங்க. அந்த டீம் ஈவெண்ட் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பற்றி சொல்லுங்களேன்.
See, the group stages, I think we did pretty all right. We won all our matches 3-love, except against Pakistan, like you mentioned, we lost that 2-1. I won my match, but unfortunately Abhay and Mahesh fell short on that day. We kind of dissected what happened in that match quite acutely, and we kind of accepted and realized that we kind of let emotion get the better of us as a team on that day, and playing against Pakistan, there's always an edge. There's always this emotion riding high, no matter what the stakes are. It could be a group match or a final. It doesn't really matter, and I think we before the final, we made a concerted effort to make sure that we tried to stay as detached as possible and focus on very, very small details on court and not worry about things that were happening outside the court. And I think for the most part, we managed to do that. Again, we are 1 point away from losing that match. It was 1-1 after Mahesh had lost his match, and then I won, and then Abhay was 10-8 match ball down in the fifth. We were 1 point away, and we could be sitting here with a silver medal in the team event as well. But things kind of went our way that day, and we won 12-10. But even if we lost that day, at least we knew that whatever we had planned to execute, we executed to the best of our abilities. We gave everything we had. And one of the things that we spoke about in the team talk the night before was winning and losing wasn't entirely in our control, because we are obviously playing against another player, and everything is in response to each other. But the effort and the way we conduct ourselves both on and off the court is 100% in our control. And I think we would have been extremely disappointed had we lost, but we would have been very proud of the fact that we did things the right way and did it very, very well.
இப்போ நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க மென்ஸ் டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டை உங்களை தவிர அபே அதுக்கப்புறம் மகேஷ்னு சொன்னீங்க. வேறு யாரெல்லாம் டீம் ஈவெண்ட் டீமில் வந்து இருந்தாங்க?
So in the team, we had Abhay, Mahesh and Harinder Pal Sandhu. I think it was a strong team. Outside of that, we have Ramit Tandon, who unfortunately couldn't make it, although he's very high up in the rankings. We have a few others in Velavan Senthil Kumar from Chennai. There's Veer Chotrani as well, who's just started out and he's doing very well. So I think men's squash in India is in a good space right now. We have a good mix of juniors coming through, like a Veer, and then you have people like Abhay and Vela who are slightly older, 25, 26, so they're at a good stage in their careers. And then you have Ramit and Mahesh who are in their early 30s or close to being early 30s, and then obviously you have myself. And I think overall we are in a good space, and it's a question of being able to translate that solid group into doing something or continuing to do things special on the world stage. And we have the world teams at the end of the year in New Zealand, and hopefully we will continue the good form and do well for India.
இப்போ மென்ஸ் டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டை பற்றி பேசினோம். இண்டிவிஜுவலில் நீங்கள் வந்து சில்வர் வின் பண்ணீங்க, டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டில் கோல்டு. அதே போல் விமென்ஸ் டீமும் வந்து இந்தியாவை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணாங்க. அவங்களோட இண்டிவிஜுவல் கேட்டகரி பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் அண்ட் டீம் ஈவெண்ட் பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் பற்றி நீங்கள் என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க?
So, I mean, the women's team did really well to win the bronze medal in the team event. There are two very, very strong teams in the women's teams with Hong Kong and Malaysia. Very, very strong, and I think they gave a very, very good account of themselves. Leaving Joshna aside at number 1 and Deepika at number 4, both Tanvi and Anahat at 2 and 3 are kind of newbies to this level of play on the world stage, and I think they did very, very well in terms of their performances, and there's a lot to look out for in the future from them. Joshna and Deepika have carried the baton for women's squash in India for a good part of 2 decades, and a lot of credit has to go to them for the way the women have performed for India over these last 15-20 years. In the individual event, unfortunately, they couldn't win a medal. Joshna unfortunately got injured. Her knee injury flared up again in her last 16 match, and these are things that you can't control. I'm sure she trained really hard, and more than anyone around, it's the most heartbreaking for her to not be able to even perform at the level that she knows she's capable of because of something like an injury, and it was difficult for her. Tanvi had made the quarters, but she had a very, very difficult match in the quarters, but again, like I said, she gave a very good account of herself, and she did really well, and there's a lot to come from the women's side as well.
ஸோ நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க இந்த ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் வந்து உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஃபேவரட்டான ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் அப்படின்னு நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க. நீங்கள் வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் இங்கே ரிசப்ஷன் எப்படி இருந்தது? ஆனரபிள் பிரைம் மினிஸ்டரோட நீங்கள் வந்து மீட்டிங் பண்ணீங்க, அந்த எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள்.
No, it's been great coming back. I think a big difference from previous editions is that a lot of the matches were shown live on TV and a lot of people watched it, and I think that has definitely helped popularize the sport, and people have started taking notice of what we are doing as sports people. So that's great. Meeting the Honorable Prime Minister in New Delhi is always an honor. It's a privilege, He's someone, along with his government, who's obviously supporting sport a great deal. You saw the IOC session as well. He's announced that he wants to try to get the 2036 Olympics in India, which is obviously a giant step forward if he can manage to get it and do it well. But yeah, I mean, it's brilliant that, you know, sport is factoring very heavily on the government's agenda, and obviously Mr. Modi is at the forefront of that.
இவ்வளோ வருஷம் வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா ஸ்குவாஷ் வந்து ஒலிம்பிக்ஸில் இல்லை. இப்போ சமீபத்தில் சில செய்திகள் நம்ம கேட்டுட்ருக்கோம். அதில் வந்து ஒலிம்பிக்ஸ் ஈவெண்ட்டில் வந்து ஸ்குவாஷை வந்து சேர்க்க போகிறாங்கன்னு, இதை பற்றி நீங்கள் என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க?
Yeah, we finally got in for LA 28 at the IOC session in Mumbai. It is a monumental step for squash. It is one of those kind of red letter days which will go down in the annals of history as one of the most important days for squash. Every squash player worth his salt around the world wants to be in the Olympics, wants to play for their country in the Olympics, and wants to win a medal at the Olympics. There's going to be nothing bigger for anyone than the Olympics, and I think everyone is absolutely ecstatic and happy to be able to know that, you know, in 5 years' time we will get a chance to showcase what we're all about. With regards to India, I think we have some time to prepare for it. Hopefully we will be in a good state to showcase what we are all about. And for me personally, I don't know, we'll have to see. We'll have to take it 1 year at a time, because I know that's a question that's always going to come. With my age, I don't know, but we'll see. But it is something that I would love to do, and if it happens for me and I can win a medal for India, that would be great.
ஓகே, ரொம்ப வருஷமாக ஸ்குவாஷ் விளையாடுறீங்க. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்ச நீங்கள் ரொம்ப வருஷமாக சென்னையில் இருக்கீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். எவ்வளோ வருஷமாக சென்னையில் இருக்கீங்க?
I moved to Chennai when I was 15 years old. Basically, after I finished my class 10 in Calcutta, I moved here to do my class 11 and 12th, because the National Academy was here, and till I was 15, I actually didn't really train much. I used to just go to the club in Calcutta, the Calcutta Rackets Club, and just play with the club members and go back home. When I moved here at 15 is that when I actually started training on a daily basis, and I had some structure, and a lot of that was down to, at the time, Major Manyam was the head coach at the Indian Squash Academy in Chennai, and Cyrus Poncha was the national coach. It was a lot down to both of them, with whatever I achieved in the junior ranks. And then I've obviously been here. I went to England for university, and I trained with Malcolm Wilstrop, which has a lot to do with what I am as a professional squash player. But yeah, I mean, Chennai is my base, and that's where I keep coming and going from. And although I don't spend as much time as I would like to, because of all the tournaments and the training that I have to do abroad, but it is still a place that I can come back to and call home.
ஸோ நீங்கள் பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கும்போது சொன்னீங்க உங்களோட 15 வயசுலேருந்து நீங்கள் வந்து சென்னையில் தான் இருக்கீங்கன்னு. ரொம்ப வருஷமாக சென்னையில் தான் விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. எவ்வளோ வருஷம் இங்கே வந்து சென்னையில் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க?
So I think it depends from like what part of the season you're in. I think during the summer, which is the off season, I think you're doing 3 sessions a day, with 2 squash sessions and 1 off-court session. I think all put together, you're looking at somewhere between like, I don't know, like 5-6 hours. Whereas in the season, which is like now, there are a lot of days where you're doing just 1 session a day, because you're just, at this point in time, you're not progressing on any front. You're just trying to maintain things and trying to sharpen up the squash side of things as much as possible. So during the season, you're probably looking at like 2 to 3 hours a day. There will be days where you do a little bit more, but on an average, you're looking at a lot less volume than what you would do in the off season. So yeah.
சென்னையை தவிர வேறு எங்கேயாவது நீங்கள் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறீங்களா, வேறு ஏதாவது சிட்டியில்?
Yes, I have 2 coaches outside India who made a huge difference to my game. The first one is David Palmer. He's a former Australian player, former world number 1 and world champion, who's the head coach at Cornell University in America. And I go to him very often. I've been training with him since 2018, after the Commonwealth Games in 2018 actually. And he's brought a lot to my game, and I owe a lot of what I've achieved since then to him. The other person who I've just started working with in January this year is James Wilstrop, who is my erstwhile coach Malcolm Wilstrop's son. Malcolm unfortunately passed away a couple of years back, and now I go to James as well. And he lives in England, in a small town called Pontefract near Leeds. So they are the two coaches that I work with very, very closely. And my physical trainer lives in Philadelphia. He's an English person, but he lives in Philadelphia. His name is Damon Lee Dale Brown, and I've been working with him since 2013.
ஓகே, நீங்கள் இப்போ பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கும்போது சொன்னீங்க சில ஃபாரின் கோச்சஸோடு வந்து நீங்கள் வந்து ட்ரைனிங் எடுத்துக்கிறீங்கன்னு. அதே போல் இந்தியன் கோச்சஸோடு நீங்கள் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறீங்களா, இல்லை வெறும் ஃபாரின் கோச்சஸோட மட்டும்தான் நீங்கள் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறீங்களா?
No, it's for me right now. This is my core team. They are the ones who make me who I am. I have a few people from India who are part of the team, but they have different kind of skill sets. So I have a nutritionist from India, Krushmi Chheda from Bombay, my physio Dimple Kannan, she's from Chennai. I have my psychologist Gayatri Vartak, who's from Pune, part of Samiksha. So that is my skills, like core team from India, but my squash and my physical core team is from the people I mentioned.
எந்த ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் பிளேயருக்கும் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டெய்லி ரொட்டீன்றது ரொம்ப டிசிப்ளின்டாக இருக்கும். உங்களோட டெய்லி ரொட்டீன் பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள்.
The normal routine is I wake up around 8 o'clock in the morning. I get ready, eat breakfast, go to train around 9:30. Then obviously, like I said, depends if I'm doing 3 sessions a day or 2 sessions. But let's say I'm doing 3 sessions, then I will first do like an hour-long technical squash session, which is not very heavy on the body, but just focusing on certain shots and understanding how to implement those shots and execute them. After that, I will go into the gym or do some form of like physical stuff off the court, and then I will come back to eat lunch around 1:30, sleep, and then go back to train for a harder squash session in the evening around 4:30. Come back around 7:30, maybe get physio before that, and then eat dinner, and then chill and go to sleep.
ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் பிளேயருக்கு ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது டயட்டை மெயின்டைன் பண்ணால் தான் நம்ம வந்து கரெக்டாக ஃபிட்னஸை மெயின்டைன் பண்ண முடியும். நீங்கள் உங்களோட ஹோம் டவுன் வந்து கல்கட்டா, இப்போ சென்னையில் இருக்கீங்க. உங்களுக்கு வந்து எந்த ஃபுட்டு பிடிக்கும், கல்கட்டா ஃபுட்டா இல்லை சென்னை ஃபுட்டா?
No, I think I would like to call myself a foodie. So, and I'm very, very lucky to have traveled the world, and I actually like all types of food. So of course I love the food that comes from Calcutta. That's kind of the food that's made at home in Calcutta. But I also love the food that comes from Chennai. And there are a lot of things that I love here. But yeah, you know, like till about 3 years back, I didn't have a nutritionist. I used to pretty much eat what I wanted. I don't eat that much junk food because I don't like it. But in terms of like quantity and I have a big sweet tooth, so dessert was a big thing on my agenda. So I used to eat a lot. For the last 3 years, I've really focused a lot on what I eat, when I eat, and how much I eat. And I think that has helped me kind of make my performances a lot more consistent. And a lot of that goes to my nutritionist, Krushmi Chheda, for making that happen.
எந்த ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் பிளேயரும் டாப் லெவல் அச்சீவ் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா ஃபேமிலி சப்போர்ட் இல்லாமல் பண்ணவே முடியாது. உங்களோட ஃபேமிலி சப்போர்ட் பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள்.
You can't achieve what you achieve without an entire kind of team behind you. Obviously, you have the technical team in terms of what happens with the squash, but you need that personal team behind you to be able to make that happen. My father has been, like with me as a squash player ever since I was 8 years old. And he's the reason why I started playing squash in the first place. So he's always been a pillar of strength, and he's always been very, very supportive. My wife, who I've been married to for more than 6 years, almost 7 years now, is someone who has to sacrifice a lot for me to be able to do what I'm doing. Like I mentioned, I'm hardly in India. I travel so much because of the tournaments and everything, and I understand it's not easy on my wife to be able to deal with that. But she is for the most part extremely supportive and very, very level-headed, and that keeps me grounded. Other than that, I think every single one who is part of my family, my mom, my in-laws, my sisters, everyone, right? My friends, I think everyone has to have this kind of understanding element in their heads to know that, that I'm going to try and make all the time I can, but if I can't, it's because I'm doing something to achieve something, and that's great.
ஃபேமிலி சப்போர்ட் போலவே அசோசியேஷன் சப்போர்ட், கவர்மெண்ட் சப்போர்ட் உங்களுக்கு எப்படி இருக்குது? உங்களுடைய ஃப்யூச்சர் பிளான்ஸ் என்ன?
Yeah, I think the SRFI and the SDAT in Tamil Nadu as well, and the central government, I think they've all played their part in helping me achieve what I have achieved. It takes a whole village, so to say, to create a world champion or to create a big champion. And I haven't made world champion yet, but whatever I have achieved is partly to the support that I have received and the encouragement that I have received from all these entities, and I'm absolutely indebted and extremely grateful for it. In terms of future plans, I've made top 10 in the world. I want to make top 5. That is something that I really want to gun for. Like I mentioned earlier, the world teams is there at the end of the year. India has never medaled at the world teams, but I do think we have a shot, and hopefully we can all play at our very best and do that. And then we'll take it one year at a time, and then there's the Commonwealth and the Asian Games and then the Olympics, and we just have to produce the best we can and win as much as we possibly can for India.
So thanks for spending time, and we wish you all the best in your future tournaments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. இன்றைக்கி விளையாட்டு களம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் ஸ்குவாஷ் பிளேயர் சௌரவ் கோஷல் அவர்களை நம்ம சந்தித்தோம். இப்போ சமீபத்தில் ஏஷியன் கேம்ஸ் போயிட்டு வந்தார். இண்டிவிஜுவல் கேட்டகரியில் சில்வரும், டீம் ஈவெண்ட்டில் வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா கோல்டும் வின் பண்ணிக்கிறாரு. ரொம்ப வருஷமாக விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கார். இவர் இன்னும் அடுத்தடுத்து எல்லா டோர்னமெண்ட்ஸ்லையும் வின் பண்ணணும், ஒலிம்பிக்ஸ்லேயும் வந்து பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணி வின் பண்ணணும். அதுக்கு பொதிகை சார்பாக வாழ்த்துக்களை நம்ம தெரிவிச்சுக்கலாம். இதே போல் விளையாட்டு களம் நிகழ்ச்சி அடுத்த வாரம் தொடரும். வேறு ஒரு வீரரோடு சந்திக்கலாம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.